Hey everyone, this is Nick from On Point Krav Maga in Waltham, Massachusetts, and this week we're going to continue our lesson with head movement going over bobbing and weaving. Last week we talked about bobbing. It's when I change my level to avoid getting hit. Looks like this. Now notice a couple notes about the bob as a review. One, I'm not bending at the waist, so my shoulders and my hips are staying aligned. My base is nice and wide and stable, so I don't feel like I'm going to tip over. And my hands stay up on my face with my chin tucked and my eyes up. Now, the bob in and of itself is a great way to avoid getting hit. It's effective against straight punches and it's effective against hook punches. But the thing that I want to remind everybody about is that our head movement is not about trying to evade, multiple punches in a row. I'm not trying to slip, bob, and weave under all these strikes. What I'm really trying to do is get the person to miss so I can set up my own counterattack. So when we talk about the bob, it's very effective for the first part of this, which is getting the hell out of the way. What the bob doesn't really do super well is setting me up for a good counterattack. This is where we add the weave. Now your weave is often, we talk about bobbing and weaving a lot as one thing. They're actually two separate things that we put together. So again, here's my bob. Here's a bob and weave. Now notice, I'm rotating my body a little bit as I do my bob. Why? Well, when I rotate my body, I want to think about rotating towards the direction of the strike. Right? So if the strike's coming over this way, I'm weaving this way. If the strike's coming this way, I'm weaving this way. So for all intents and purposes, when you see me on camera doing this, pretend if I go this way, think about it like I'm bobbing a left hook. If I go the other way, maybe it's a right side strike, so a right hook or a right straight. Now, again, as we talked about before, bobbing is great for getting out of the way. It doesn't help me set up my counterattacks, which is really the whole point of my head movement in any defense, to be honest, is to block or evade and then immediately strike. What my weave is going to do is set my body up to have good punch mechanics, so when I do fire back, it's going to be a shot that hurts. Now, one thing I can do is make sure, first off, I'm in a good stance. I work on my bob. If I were to break this down, these are really the four motions that I'm hitting, okay? We're going to break this down like it was a slideshow. I'm going to drop. I'm going to rotate out a little bit. I'm going to come back up and I'm going to rotate back. So again, if I'm weaving under this way, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm weaving the other way, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now look, this looks very choppy, this looks very rudimentary, but this essentially are the motions that we want our body to be moving in. When I do it quick, it looks a little bit smoother. But if I can't do it slow, I can't do it fast. When I do my bob and my weave, I want to, again, really harp on this. Don't bend at the waist. This is not what we want to do. When I throw my bob and weave, I want to drop my weight, rotate, and as I come up, I start my rotation back to throw a shot on this side. So as you can see, if I weave to my left, it's going to set up my left side for a counter punch. If I weave to my other side, you're going to see it's going to set up my right side for a counter punch. What's important about my bob and my weave, one thing we already mentioned, which is not bending at the waist. 2, keeping my chin tucked, even though I'm going lower. It's very common for people, I mean, think about if you were watching TV and the TV's up here and you go to sit down to watch TV, my chin goes up with it. What I really want to try to do with this is keep my chin down, so when I drop, my chin is still tucked, but my eyes are looking up, right? One way that you can practice this, if you're having a hard time with it, you can't seem to get yourself to stop doing it, put a tennis ball here. Hold the tennis ball in between your chin and your chest, and do these motions, holding that tennis ball in between your chin and your chest. That way, as soon as you start to look up, that ball's going to drop, and you're going to know what you have to fix. So again, I weave to my left, I weave to my right. Now notice when I'm coming back to center, that's my strike. So I weave, I strike. I come down, I strike. The other thing I want to be careful of is not to over-rotate. Again, when we talk about slips, we're going to go over this again, but I really want to keep in mind that as I come down, I don't need to be exposing any part of this to my attacker. Two reasons. One, it's really easy for them to step around and get my back, which I really don't want, especially if, excuse me, if the person's allowed to grab me and throw me. Definitely don't want to let them get around there. Two, if I weave too much, I've gone so far that I've taken the effectiveness out of this side because it's so far away from you, from the attacker, and it's going to take such an extreme rotation to get it back out there, it's probably not going to land or be as effective as I want. So again, the key is turning just enough to be able to come back forward with a good strike. So one more time. And that's your bobbing or weave. Next I'm going to talk about with our bobbing and our weaving is our footwork and our stepping. Just like when we step, excuse me, just like when we step in with strikes, I want to stay consistent with the size of my step, and I also want to stay consistent with my pace as I learn it first. So we'll go over this again in a separate video, but for now, my shuffle steps, if I'm doing my fight footwork, are just 6-inch steps. I'm moving, if I'm going forward, then my lead leg is moving first. If I'm going backward, my rear leg is going to move first. The key to this is having the same size step each time and keeping my weight down the center. I want to maintain my fight stance. So now if I want to use my bob and weave to move in, I can step with each bob and each weave. So for example, if I go to my bob and weave to my left, bob and weave to my right, left, right. Again, I'm coming forward, left, right, left, right. And I'm working my way in. Now, to put this, well, let's do this, let's go backwards. So I can also bob and weave backwards. In general, I don't like to instruct people to be backing away to make space. I like to take space away and keep moving forward. But as a coordination drill, moving backwards with your bob and weave can still be very useful. Looks like this. Again, rules of footwork, whatever direction I'm going, the foot that's closest to that direction is the one that's going to move first. So if I'm going backward, my rear leg is going to move first. Step, step. And that's our bob and our weave with steps. One way that we can help ourselves make the correct motions and stay consistent is by using something that they call a slip line, which is what we're going to look at next.